Good morning, Xenocron. Good morning. Watching Peyton Rules. And I just got up early today. Turn on that automatic scene switcher. Ooh, my mouse setup is a little laggy. Why is it doing that? I need to restart my Pi. It's my mouse hub. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go ahead and swap over to the code. I'm gonna reboot Pi. There we go. So, we're going to be working on... Hold on, where'd it go? Oh, there we go. Notice about power outages in the area. So I've got a little bit of an issue in here. I was trying to move out some of these... Hey, thank you for the raid, Peyton. And I had been watching your stream in the background, and now I'm watching myself in the background, which is slightly disturbing. A little, morning echo. There we go. So, oh good. Raspberry Pi is back up. Can get that thing started. Okay, that should get my mouse hub back up and running. I use my Raspberry Pi as a mouse and keyboard hub using Synergy. It works all right. Also as my Twitch bot. Let's start up Capitan. Oops, started the wrong browser. There we go. Capitan is almost there. And welcome everyone. If you haven't been here before, we do Rust game dev using Godot and GD Native, and also work on some bigger projects sometimes. We're trying to work on a small project at the moment, and for that I need some font rendering. I need to do some font rendering, so we're cleaning up and rendering some fonts in 3D space using a tessellator. There we go. And for whatever reason, my Synergy client didn't start on that box. That is so strange. Oh, it says address already in use. Huh, okay. Maybe it's the other box problem then. Show. It's saying it can't connect to the socket. Is it on the right IP address? Oh, it's got a completely different IP. That's not right. Alright, I'll have to fix that after the stream. Just punch in the IP for the moment. And yeah, sometimes I do have a stream on in the background, but not often. we go. Got my mouse and keyboard back. Yay. Success. Morning, Ecton Dev. Now I can see everything. Time to go back to 720p. Is it because of the bitrate drop? Occasionally, I get a bitrate drop. I've switched over to a different internet provider, and occasionally I'll get bitrate drops. It's usually because it's the better than nothing beta. So occasionally I have no satellite coverage for just a moment. So if it does drop out, it's usually just for a second or two, and then it usually catches up. So this is where we were yesterday. We'd gotten some fonts rendered, and they are looking gorgeous in 3D space. Look at that. Beautiful. See the wireframe, the tessellation on there, I think came out pretty good. Look at that G. It's just enough that we're not seeing it. We're not seeing the text issues. Like you don't see the tessellation. It looks like it's just a vector drawn. It's gorgeous. So last night I was trying to get Glyph to have the multi-mesh in it. Now it turns out that having the array mesh and the multi-mesh in the same structure is giving me some lifetime issues because one produces the other. Right. The glyph has the array mesh in it. So when we create the array mesh, I'm also trying to create the multi-mesh and collect all the information I need in this structure. We come back, I've basically gutted the font file, removed the utility functions. The glyph builder is in a completely different file now. It's in glyph. So we have these glyphs, we have the glyph builder. And part of the glyph builder's job is to collect the path information, the drawing information. So if you're going to be drawing like SVGs or something like that, you could use this. We're using it to then feed the path information into a crate called Lyon, Lyon, which then does the tessellation. Now see right there, we have another satellite drop or signal loss. Gonna check on my phone real quick. Just take 15 seconds or so. It's a pretty neat system. I expect that with the launch of more and more satellites, that this will happen less. Yeah, it says I'm obstructed for 52 seconds in the last 12 hours and had 9 minutes of beta downtime. Which is fine. Because going from 4 meg down and 4 meg up to, let's see, I've hit 198 down while updating Xcode, which I never would have done on my 4 megabit connection. It's just amazing. So we're going to go through and update these elements here. I feel like some of this build should be broken up. Like this multi-mesh is being passed in. I don't think that it needs to be passed in, but let's break this up a little bit. Where is build being called? Build's being called by text. BUILD. Yep, spelled build correctly. So we have this hash map. Hash map has this entry. We're saying for the character, we're building the glyph. I see. So we ask for the glyph. Then we return it, or we create it. Part of the problem here comes from render, where you can see that we are using self.text and then also self.glyphs. And both of these are mutable. So we either need to use interior mutability on this or split these up. We could just clone the text. Why is self.text.chars? Let's see. Oh, this is the immutable borrow. We look at the larger errors. Immutable borrow occurs here, while the immutable borrow is here. We could probably fix that in a different way. I mean, we could toss a string in a cow. Well, would that solve it though? That would still be an immutable borrow. Let's see, we could copy the text. I don't like that option. I'd rather just practice getting better at these borrow issues. Why don't we have glyph, not borrow? Okay. Let's get that going again. Where's it called a glyph? Here's glyph. Now glyph here operates on the hash map. So we could do this in a different way. We can basically ensure that everything's in the hash map. So we could create a whole bunch of glyphs and then populate them. It's one option. However, we don't know if every single one of these glyphs is going to be renderable. So our hash map does have an option to the glyph. Yeah, it is possible that it doesn't exist yet. Well, that it will never exist. And if we just go through and create a bunch of those, it's not guaranteed to be there. For two reasons, I think. One is here in the font face. And then the other one, I think, is in this builder. There's a possibility that the tessellator fails, or was it? It was... I thought there was one more case, but it doesn't look like we return an option here. So maybe that's the only case. See, in this case, we should just return question mark. That'll be a none. So if that fails, no more unwrapping there. It'll just be none. So that seems all right. Wait, no, that's that returns an occupied entry. In the entry API, how do you? Oh, that's bright. So much better. Oh, and I was playing around with IPFS the other day. Very interesting. It's just a giant file system. Oh, here's option. No, we want entry. That's right. This is going to be the hash map entry. Technically, okay, yeah, well, we can get to it from there. Hash map entry. Returns an entry, and the variant that we want is occupied. So on an occupied entry, let's click on that. We click on get, or get mutable. That should, well, it returns a reference to it, but the entry itself doesn't live long enough. Oh, I see what it's saying now. Okay, now it's a reference, ref mute. That's like the same thing. When you use ref mute, it's usually only in bindings like this. This would be the equivalent of saying on the right hand side of something, like if we had right foobar. So if that ref mute is the same bindings as that there. Let's see the tall errors, long ones. Let's see, 3 errors. 76 and 81. Oh, that's right, I turned off line numbers. I don't remember why. That's so strange. The errors don't line up. Alright, let's work on these first. try to split that up, but no, that's a mutable reference here. Because we are going to be changing it. Hmm. Alright, what does glyph do? Gets the font size. And returns a glyph object if one doesn't exist. So yeah, it's like, problem is just because we're using these two elements. One's a string, the other's the hash map. You know, at first I thought it was because we were using two hash maps, but no, it's the glyphs versus text. So we're iterating over this here, building up that. We could toss a lock around that, mutex or something. Go with interior immutability. I'd like to figure it out without. Okay. I mean, thinking through this with combinators or other things, I don't see a way around this without splitting this into two different structures. So it's either we take ownership of the string or we take ownership of the hash map, basically split it apart. So we toss it in an option and take it and then put it back at the end of the function. That's sketchy on its own. I mean, it would work. All right. What else could we do on there? Is there another way? Even if we use a slice here, it's going to be off the same thing. Because of the way that the lifetimes and borrows work. It's going to know where that came from. Huh. And this worked before because this was a global static behind a mutex, and I was trying to get rid of the mutex. So I'm a little hesitant to actually toss the mutex back on there. Could have no text. Wrap that in an option. been a while since I've been so stuck on something. Wow. Now, is this because we're calling into something else? This insert here? I'm trying to think, if I split this up into sub-objects, do I still have the same problem? Alright, ignoring that first error, that last error. This first one, it's a warning. Oh, interesting. Why is this a warning? This borrowing pattern was not meant to be accepted. Oh, I see. Huh, fancy. We could give it the index. Basically have this glyph look up what index it is later. That character. Alright, so first, let's get the entry. We'll save that to a local, extract into, well, rename that. Whoops. Okay, now the local should not be dropped. Oh, it's talking about this, the larger context? Okay, we got rid of one error. Wait, down to 3 still? Okay, first that warning that's gonna break. Oh, now it's not mutable. Sure. I think the option here is basically to not have glyph mutate self, but to produce something that this function can then do the mutations. That, and let's go look at this issue. Oh, Twitch is saying that my stream is unstable. It is. I've been wondering whether or not I should. Oh, you know what? Go back to the stream manager for a minute. Preferences, channel. Because there's 2 different latency options. There's low latency, and then there's normal latency. Could just switch it to normal. Yeah, because that might actually work a little bit better in terms of my kind of choppy bit rates now. All right, let me try that. Give that a test. This is one of those UIs in Twitch where certain objects seem to be update instant and other objects on the screen you have to save. To click save for. Huh, okay. So we'll just leave that and see if it helps out any. I don't know if it's going to take until tomorrow, or rather next time. We'll have to see. All right. The goal of this page is to describe why this change was made and how you can fix code that's affected by it. A two-phase borrow is a mutable borrow that is initially reserved at one point in the program's control flow, then subsequently activated at a later point in the control flow. Given a vector v push length, okay. First reserves a borrow of v, there. Then it evaluates the method receiver, but does not activate the borrow until later when transforming control flow to the push method itself, after v.len has been evaluated. The latter code is an example. Let's see. So we have a vector, it's borrowed, then we push onto it, that is shared. The code was accepted when two-phase borrows initially landed as part of non-lexical lifetimes deployment in 2018 edition. This lint detects such cases and warns that this pattern may be rejected by future versions of the compiler. Okay, so this is probably because I'm using nightly at the moment. Revise the code so that the initial evaluation of the mutable borrow, the reservation, always comes after all uses of shared borrows it conflicts with. So here we have a mutable v shared. Ah, I see. So then you get the length and then you push on. Oh, well, I can't do that. Okay. So I can't actually do that because getting the glyph. Oh, maybe before. Yeah, so we build the glyph before inserting it. Is that it? That's it? Extract into variable. Glyph. It can't be it. Yeah, I think it just changed. See, basically what they're suggesting is that we do this before we get that, but we don't know what the CH is going to be because It comes from the first one. All right, let's split it up. We'll split it up. So either how are we going to split this? We could put them in the same object. Basically combine text and that. That would result in the same problem, just pushing it down another layer, wouldn't it? You like the centered Tmux windows? Yeah, I like that too. Oh, you know what? Let me start up the channel bot. Cargo, run, release. There we go. Almost. There we go. So we got dot files in there and pretty dot files. Oh, it said connections closed. That's odd. They dropped the connection on me twice. All right. We're going to do the insertion out here, so let's break up this glyph bit so that self-glyph insert isn't the same. We're not going to make this mutable, which means that this should fail. Good. We'll call it build glyph. And we'll tell it which glyph we want it to build. And we'll see if we can break this up in a different way. So what's going to happen here is that this glyph's entry or insert width is going to get bumped out. That's going to come up here. If it's vacant, we do this. And this we should be able to call self-glyph, although we might run into a different issue. Build glyph. Do we even need the multi-mesh? Good question. Oh, this is one of my favorite songs on this. It's so funny.
Oh my god, I never thought I'd ever hear MGMT again. But guess who popped up on the Yo Gabba Gabba Spotify station yesterday?
So if we do that, then this glyph goes away.
With her brand new Orbit stroller and her probiotic smoothie, I hope was checking prices on that tasty vegan sushi. With that Adbusters mag and her artisan toast, she's always shopping local and avoiding GMOs. Scoping out the Lululemon if it line on her phone, using Amazon Mom cause she's always on the go. Watching Girls on HBO really takes her back to the Bushwick parties and the vinyl stacks. She misses Cafe Grumpy and Brooklyn Label, but when she's back in Franklin she can never never get a table. She remembers Luna Lounge where she passed out flyers for an underground band named Arcade Fire. Before Lena Dunham was successful and paid, Hipster Girl was on the L trying to find her way. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her
Okay.
married with a mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But Hipster Mom is doing okay.
This may seem like a stupid question, but is breast milk vegan? Can I call you back in a bit? I have to Skype my lactation consultant.
She looks so good when she shops organic, cause she cares about her baby and the future of our planet. But life has gotten hectic now that she's become a mom. Though the charter school waiting list isn't all that long, and the Mandarin immersion that they offer every morning combines a bit of Waldorf and a bit of Montessori. And the rooftop playground has an urban
Returns an
petting zoo.
option to a
It's like
glyph.
wood chips and a Manhattan view. Cause her green plate subway had to go. Bedford got too crowded and she'd seen enough shows, so she married a designer and moved to Park Slope. Found a nice brownstone and they took out a loan. And her Etsy store has been doing great since Ellen Page Instagrammed her diaper bouquets. Before the Starbucks down on Union sold soy lattes, there was Hipster Girl trying to find her way. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA, married with a mortgage and an IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But Hipster Mom is doing okay. Well, Hipster Girl grew up and now she makes it.
Oh, I see. This actually needs to be a if let sum.
Necklace that she bought fair trade. Vegan chocolate cake for baby's first birthday. And Hipster Mom is doing okay.
Oh, that's kind
Did
of
you
gross.
hear Jessica had an elective epidural? It's like she doesn't even care about the health of her newborn. How basic.
No more TV on the radio, it's NPR, where she heard the interview in her husband's car with her ex-fiance who had gone EDM.
Pause that. Fill in match arms. Lovely.
With the dragonfly, she kept it in her closet as the years went by. Who's cried a night about? Asked Terry Gross.
A girl I knew in Brooklyn, we were once very close.
Well, Hipster Girl grew up and got her MFA, married with a mortgage and an
Oh.
IRA. Hybrid minivan up in the carpool lane. But Hipster Mom is doing okay. Well, Hipster Girl grew up in
Does insert actually return the value? It does.
vintage layer onesie.
That's not quite right though,
Still on the second
because it's a reference to that.
so great. But Hipster Mom is doing okay.
Morning, Nightshade
Are
dude.
you kidding? Of
How
course
are
I'm
you?
not gonna let her wear pink. Didn't you see the Huffington Post article on Facebook this morning? Gender roles are so passe. That's why I'm siding with Blossom on the whole Frozen controversy.
How do you find Will Smith in a snowstorm?
So sad. There
You
is
look for
no
Fresh
way
Prince.
I'm ever gonna have a birthday party at SeaWorld ever. Do you think the gold iPhone
It's
6
oldie but
matches
goodie.
her indigo aura?
All right. So what is this code trying to do? I'm just totally not focusing. Um, I feel like this has gotten too complicated. It needs to be simplified. So this build glyph, does it use self? It uses the font size. That can be passed in. What is that? That's so that is a U32. It's fine. Drop that out of there. Doesn't need to be public. All right. Just in the module. why isn't this on like new glyph? So here we're building a glyph. Get the horizontal advance. Oh, that's right, because of the glyph builder. Oh, that's... Alright, let's look at the glyph builder again. So the glyph builder is taking multiple elements here. And instead of doing it that way, we could have it build up. So, function, let's say, like it could pass in the ID here in the new, or a bunch of this in the new, or we create little functions that we can chain, create a proper builder. Because all this is doing is taking the path builder's path and that's because of the this implements that. Maybe we should have two different pieces. Split this out. Yeah. Let's split this out. Let's not take these other elements. Let's have this focus just on building the path. Okay, so these are the instructions for building the path. Then down here, we'll get rid of that. That. Okay. That goes away. I should just start learning Rust. You know some Go. Good morning, Sid, for the win. Yep, as Xenocron says, those are great places. I like to start with a project. Also, going along the Rust by example note, there is the what was it? Code. No. Oh, exorcism.io. I like to go through and do exercises and kind of have a directed path. So if you come through here, they have all of these different languages available here too, with challenges that you can practice on. So they have a Rust course. Learn by watching me. Oh, I feel for you, Xenocron. I feel for it. So they got some mentors in there, but 93 exercises, and they start off fairly straightforward, right? Print out these. They have tests. Start with something like these. It's got a whole setup, right? So you basically say I'm starting this exercise, and it sets up a little directory. You then go into that directory, and it's got some test cases that you uncomment and kind of build it up in stages. It works really, really well. I like the Rust track on here. I'll go ahead and toss that link in the chat there. But to support that, there's a book, there's a Rust by example, and if you have questions or whatnot, there's the Rust Discord, there's our Discord. You could toss a thing in there, toss questions in there. think I'm gonna have this builder not build a glyph, but build a array mesh. Maybe I should rename that to like glyph mesh builder. Technically, the shared is defaulted in that case. There we go. Okay. So now we have the glyph mesh builder separated out. And then we'll just build up a glyph once we have all the pieces for it. That should work a little bit better. And what do we actually need for this? The multi-mesh, I don't think we actually have to create here. We could create that elsewhere. We come back to text. I think we're creating multi-mesh already here. We do that elsewhere. Let's toss this over there. Not take that here. Into shared. Color scheme, I am using Challenger Deep. You're welcome. See, this instance count though, I don't know about that. It starts at 0. I'm going to have to manage this some other way. Oh, this is a weird audio effect that they have in this song. I don't like that. There we go. Next one. Okay, so now we have the glyph. Come back to text. And what are we going to do here? We're going to see if, given this text character, the glyph exists. If the glyph does not exist, then we're going to build it. However, the problem isn't with our building, is this might actually work. Let's try it. What are we going to use the glyph for down here? We take the mesh instance, glyph to multi-mesh clone. Okay, set its offset. That should be an option to a mutable entry. Alright, which means that one of these is wrong. That one. No? Commander Thrashin, morning. Oh, it's about setting up containers and databases. Oh. Go ahead and ask. I'm not an expert on that stuff myself, so. By all means, ask away. Yeah, if somebody knows it. I was looking at Cubulus the other day. What is it? .com? I forget what it is. I was thinking it'd be neat to run serverless framework on Cubulus from Rust, like to have Rust stuff in there. They don't have Rust in their supported Cubulus things, but they support custom runtimes. And technically, Rust is just a native, like a binary. You need to set up LXD container. And then you need to install Docker and set up Postgres inside. Oh, interesting. What is LXD? I don't even know what the LXD is. Oh, interesting. What's LXD? Huh. Yes, Go has a runtime. I guess it's a good question. Because Go compiles down, doesn't it? That's a really good point. Golang. So I wonder what the Golang one runtime looks like. Ooh. Good idea. Look at this. Oh, runtimes. Over here. Contributing a runtime. Owning and maintaining. Okay, yada yada. Well, let's look at the Go one. Where is it? Let's take a look at that Docker file. Mini Debian, Jesse. Oh, interesting. All right, I'm gonna have to look at this later. Good idea. Hit FTW. All right. Where were we? Over here. Yeah, Commander Thrashin. I'm way out of my element, so I'm hoping somebody else can help you with this. That and what's this? It's 2017 though. I don't know if you've seen that. But being 3 years old, it's probably out of date, but might get you moving in the right direction. All right. So now that we've got our glyph builder somewhere else, let's build this up again. Where else do we have errors? Mostly just in text. Okay, good. Let's take a peek at the top. So we've got our hash map of characters to glyphs, optional glyphs, because not every character can become a glyph, and then our string. So the task is to take every character and create a glyph. All right. So when we go to render, we will iterate over the characters. Then, given every character, we'll check to see if we already have the glyph. And if we do, we'll create a mesh instance out of it and add it to the scene. Great. So in this case, we need to modify this to return an option to a glyph. Well, that should return an entry, not... Okay, I put that in the wrong spot. There. That returns an entry, then we match on the entry. It feels like I should be using or insert with on this. Do you face any demerits using DDG over Google? No, not at all. Let's see. Now in this case, the entry is an occupied entry. We want to get the mutable option. We want to invert that dot. Is it transform? Option. Is it as deref mute? Yes. because that should basically invert this. So you have mutable on the inside as opposed to the outside. Oh, no method named as drefmu found for mutable references. As mute. Because we weren't dereffing it. Alright. So that's for the positive case where we already have it. Actually, why does this need to be mutable? I don't think it needs to be mutable at that point. It can just be a reference to a glyph. So at this point, we'll get an occupied entry, that to that. And we want as ref? Yes. Okay, now at this point, we have a vacant entry. Given the same entry here, we can insert into it. Wait, what are we doing? Self.glyphs.entry? Didn't we already do that? Self.glyphs.entry. Oh, that is so weird. Okay, let's use the build glyph to get that set up. Now, in this case, we don't have a glyph, and we need to make one. I'm going to fast forward this one. So if we don't have the glyph, oh, go back a little bit. There we go. We'll build it and insert it. I'm going to call new on that with the glyph ID. Do we even have the glyph ID? All right. So now let's collect those pieces. All right, now that's an option to one. Being an option in that we're returning some or none in this case. We can use the try operator to return the none early. Results are option. Doesn't this return option? It does. Yeah, that's option to. So this entry, it's an entry to an option of glyph. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Oh, I dislike it when it does this giant set of things. Oh, I'm not in a function. This question mark is going to be an issue. Okay. So let's not do that there then. This glyph ID needs to be unwrapped. So if that doesn't work, let's do an if let sum on this. Or we could match it. Let's match. Got a match. Oh, and then we can use the Rust analyzer, fill in match arms, glyph ID. Now, if we have a glyph ID, we're going to do that. Otherwise, I basically do. Oops. This is our glyph ID. I forgot that this wasn't a function. Oh yeah. Okay, so if we don't have this character, maybe we should use like the space character or some other character. What is that square block character that they always display if they don't have that? The unknown character. Use question mark or something. What I was going to do here was return, but there is no return. Right? We're not in a closure. We're inside of a for loop. So that's not very helpful. Want data to log. I don't know. Which also means that this down here is incorrect. It looks like we're supposed to be returning that. All right. We're gonna go nested for a little bit. This is gonna come up in there. Now we have glyph ID. Now we need the mesh and the horizontal advance, which means that let's save the locked face here, the reference to local variable. We get the glyph index. Then, oh, you know what? The horizontal advance on this, I think it also returns an option. Let's just double check that. Oh, we can just write the code. That'll show us. It does return an option. Ah, but it requires the glyph ID. I was thinking that we could actually combine it here, but because we need the glyph ID, that's not going to work. This is a terrible way to do this. I really don't like that way. Alright, let glyph. Turning an option to a reference to a glyph. It's going to be equal to self.glyphs entry ch dot or insert with. We go to function, and now being inside of the function, we can return early. Okay. However, the or insert with is going to return not an option. Well, let's get as ref. Okay. And in this case, we're going to go ahead and toss that over there. Font face early. Go ahead and move that into the closure. Get rid of that glyph entry. Glyph index. Horizontal advance, yada yada. Yeah, get rid of that. Now we should be able to return early for the none case, which makes this so much nicer. Because instead of doing the match, oh come on, where's the equal? Delete that word. Toss a question mark on there, that'll return early. Great. Horizontal advance returns an option. If it doesn't exist, return early. Okay. Now we have two of the pieces. We also need the mesh. Now that mesh we needed to build a glyph builder, didn't we? Or call build glyph. Yeah, we're not doing the same thing here. This builder.build now takes nothing. Whoa, why did it take me there? Okay, which also means that... Gee. What are we using that for? Just for the font face. That gives us horizontal advance, which we already have. We need these 3 lines. Four lines? So we build a glyph mesh builder. That'll give us an option. Yeah, which we're not... Okay, so the option either means that it worked or it didn't. Let's go ahead. Because we're not using that the rectangle. Go ahead and do that. But then we have to call builder. All right, and then there's our mesh. All right, do you wrap this in a sum or do you dot into it? I prefer the sum because it makes it clear. I also like not having dangling into, so if I do convert the return type on this, Clippy doesn't yell at me. Okay. That means this whole build glyph goes away. Good. It's the lock. Really? Okay, so that compiled. Small victories, huh? Let's go ahead and move the lock outside of this so we're not locking over and over again. And the font phase. We don't need to get that ref over and over and over again for this. Now. Now, if we try to move this into its own function, it's not going to be pleased. Because that issue that we were looking at before. As an example, it'd be simple to just say function glyph. And so if we wanted to do that, basically drop this in there, we couldn't. Just wouldn't work that well. But let's try it. I don't mind being surprised, but I think this is going to fail. Well, let's say we'll just return glyph. Okay. Oh, the font face is missing. Yeah, we could pass that in too. But what is the type on that? I don't remember. Font face as a borrowed face. Oh. Yeah, now we're back to the same issue we had before. I'm doing well, Graticos. How are you doing? Oh goodness. My network just bailed for a moment. Oh. Sorry, I just saw something I didn't expect. My hub is acting a little funny, and I see why. Okay. So in this case, self.glyph. Yeah, so this is what we saw earlier. And you want to see the error. Oh, Krasink. It's going to take me forever to remember this. You have a 0 in your last name? Is that a 0 or a capital O? Can't tell. What if there's a different way around this? Can we make this a mutable borrow? Because if we make this a mutable borrow, is this going to be allowed? I don't know. Yeah, now we have 2 mutable borrows, and that won't work. Huh. Alright, well, let's just undo that example. Pull that back. Get rid of our glyph function. Alright, I think it's about right there, where it's supposed to be. Now, while we couldn't pull this whole thing out, we could probably extract this closure. Something else. Do I have a marketing plan? No. No, I don't. I like using games to learn languages. I mean, I'd love it if this actually became something something of note. I do want this to work out. You know. You know, what if it's like the one game that you build in your off time and it takes a while and then it actually makes you some money instead of all the other 9 out of 10 stories of video games landing on the App Store that never become something. Yeah, for me, I think it's going to be more of a slow burn. I wouldn't expect a game to hit a market like an app store and then just become something overnight. It's probably something that would spread over word of mouth. Let's see, I was going to restart Godot. We're going to see if this still works. Our beautiful fonts now. ahead and save that, close it. Those look so much better. So much better than the other ones. You don't understand how much better those look. Yeah, kind of Stardew Valley, or even the Dwarf Fortress kind of setup. Just build a little community. All right, we're gonna go into option screen here. Uh-oh, it's not rendering text. And there are no errors. That's unusual. We change the size. It looks like there's. I thought I saw like a white line here or something. What is that white line? Where is our text? Well, let's run the game. We'll do a remote connect. Here, game, keypad, screen, text. It's got a bunch of different meshes. It says it's there. Is it just... Oh, it's squished. That is the white line of the font. Oh, that's different. Am I a full-time Rust dev? I am not, no. I've been learning Rust for, goodness, over a year and a half. Contributed to some projects, like GD Native. Let's see, is it this one? I think it's that one. Okay, so the font entries are there, but I don't know why they're squished. That could be due to the tessellation being not correct. We did change some stuff here. Okay, outline glyph, and then build. So during the outline glyph, I don't know, not there. Inside of build. So at this point, we've collected all of the drawing instructions. Yeah, we do have a default tolerance there. That should be fine. Oh. This is because um, this is because of this one line, instance count 1. Yikes. What was the yikes for, then? Oh, you've been tinkering with Go. Yeah, well, those are just saying that they want somebody experienced. I think it's... I think you should absolutely try to apply for stuff like that. Let's say you have 5 years of C++ experience, but you had good mentorship, stuff like that. Like, there is so much variation. I would highly suggest, don't be discouraged. "10 years of Rust experience," yes. Yeah, don't... And sometimes they put that on there to scare people away, right? All right, so that should have built. I mean, it's not always the case that somebody, the person that's writing the job description, the description and the requirements might not be the best person to write that. Um, they might be using other templates. They might have pulled stuff from like a Java one. Just go for it. Right? Because there's often a disconnection between the people that are evaluating the interviewee and the people that are writing the job description. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt and just go for it. Like they're guidelines. They're not hard, fast requirements. Do not lie in your resume. They're still flat. Let them evaluate if they want to give you a call. Just send it in. Okay, yeah, let's go back into screen, text. Oh, what's this? Incorrect type passed property. Oh, it got nil. I wonder if that killed it at that point. Do I need to change that? Here, let's go back to text. I like a after. Oh, that's funny. That's funny painting rules. Oh, you know what I forgot today? There we go. Oh. Let's see, let's clean up some of this. What else do we got in here that we can clean up? Oh, the mutex is gone, yes. This is gone. Lazy's gone from this file. And entry's gone now. Yay! Okay. So why is this failing? It could be that none of these are returning the right option. Could be that each one of these is failing for some reason. All right, let's do a debug here. dbg. Oh, you know what? We could use the Godot one. Godot debug. Let's reference glyph. Oh, it doesn't implement format. Which part of it? All right, how about we'll just do is some. Do they exist? Because if that's not working, then we're skipping this whole step. All right. Restart that. Oh, it's true. Okay. So if that's true, then this is happening. Oh, that's right. We were getting the mesh instances earlier. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. And we'll dig in and see if there's any strange properties. Wonder what I'm missing. Uh-oh. Godot, don't die, Godot. Uh-oh. Ah, there. Sorry, I had that set up. Okay, keypad. Let's click on remote. Connect to the game. Good, good. Screen, text. All right. Perspective. Let's focus on the selection. Zoom in a touch. Great. Scale set to 1 here. How many vertices are on the screen? View information. 512. That is too few. Now before, I think I had set that value to 10. What I'm thinking is that, I don't know why I keep thinking about this one piece here, but that this instance count is making a difference. Maybe there's something else that I'm missing here. All right, one more time. I worked on an MMO backend that was written in Java. And boy, did I learn a lot of Java. So that changes the width. I don't know if you can see that white line actually moving back and forth. The number of vertices went up by a factor of 10 because I increased that by a factor of 10. Oh, why does it transform XYZ? That's fine. It's just scale 0. What? The scale's 1. See, the scale is actually set to 0 here. That is wrong. That seems very wrong. Where are we getting the scale? Let's go to text. Like, why is the scale on the text getting set to 0? Self.scale. Let's check that. Because if that's getting set to 0, that's a bad thing. And then why would that get set to 0? And I don't see it just looking at it. Unless this units per AM is very, very small, or okay, let's just run it. We'll see if that's getting set to something unreasonable. All right. Oh. It's very small, but not 0. That should not be 0. That is really, really wide. Shouldn't be that way. It should be 0.1. Still huge. Less huge? Yeah, okay. Back face calling. Looking at the wrong side of it? Nope. Perspective. Wireframe. To me, it feels like the number of vertices is too low. It's not doing the tessellation correctly. Okay, so we did the little, as it plugged in checks. Now let's do the more complicated checks. Okay, take that off there. Good. Go ahead and close that down. All right. Here, outline glyph. We give it the builder. Then we ask the builder to build. And that takes self. Okay, hold on a sec. Give me 2 minutes.
Monty's like freaking out right now.
All right. Oh my goodness. It's cold in here. And my wife is sewing stuff. She got a cold tape measure and measured. Oh, okay. I'm back. A little chilly though. All right, I want to see if this path builder has this path here. I want to see if that we can debug that. DVG. Please have debug. Huh? Looks like it might. All right. So after that build's good. Ah. I mean, some of these have decent paths, but it doesn't seem like nearly enough. Or maybe it is. I never looked at this before. Okay, those look all right. Let's come back here. So if those are okay, is it the tessellator? Oh, you like that? Morning, Chip Whale. All right. Well, but if this is the case, I think there's something else that I must have missed wiring up. Because here we have the mesh. That's the array mesh. And down here... Oh, did we not put the array mesh in the multi-mesh? Oops. Wait, oh, what's happening here? Oh, that's odd. If I do undo one step, it goes way too far back. Oh, that's on text. I don't want the one on text. Let's go ahead and save that. I want the one on glyph. Ah, yes, we're not setting the mesh on the multi-mesh. Set mesh, mesh. What does that move? I think I can use a reference to it. Yes, okay. Hopefully that's all that was missing. Make sure everything's written. And that's interesting because it's a lot. We ended up creating a number of multi-mesh instances that they basically had no shape. What? Use the... Okay, let's do that in a different window. Okay. Do that later. Hey, look, our fonts are back. Okay, let's look with normal. All right, now comes the difficult part of actually trying to lay them out. I'm happier with how this is set up. I'm still not sure if I can use the multi-mesh for this. We might have to bail on the multi-mesh and just create many individual meshes to set these up properly. Because we're going to have to manage this instance count, number of instances that will get drawn. This clears and resizes the buffers. By default, all instances are drawn. You can limit this. Okay. See, by default, this is set to 0. So if we comment that out, for Cosmos DB, what do you mean? We're going to try running that without that value set. 'Cause I would love to not have to worry about that value. Yep, it's not there. All right. What is it? Instance count on a multi-mesh. By default, it's 0. And here it says by default, all instances are drawn, but you can limit that with this visible instance count. By default, not all of them got drawn. So they are not there. So I don't know about there by default, but if I don't have a value in there, that's going to be a problem. Oh wow, your request went cycling in Cosmos DB instance. Oh, oh, that sucks. I like Linode. It's been a kind of oldie but goodie. All right. Now, if I'm gonna have to manage this here, how do we do that? Maybe we do this in 2 stages. First, build all the glyphs, make sure they exist. And then calculate how many of each letter we need. Adjust the instance count. Because really this is 0. What is Azure? Azure is, I think, AWS, but made by Microsoft. All right, so let's do this in 2 stages. One where we create all the glyphs. The second one where we say how many of a specific size there are, a specific letter there are. And I think I need to adjust the number of instance counts before I create the multi-meshes. I'm not sure the relationship between the multi-mesh instance and the multi-mesh. If I create a multi-mesh instance, well, let's read on this just a touch. Optimizing the rendering of higher amounts of instances given mesh, which I think is perfect for text. Animating thousands of fish using multi-mesh mesh instance. Okay, I think I've seen 2 of these. click on one. Setting up the nodes. The multi-mesh instance node and 2 mesh instance node. Okay. Service, source mesh, access up, yada yada. Okay. Huh. Interesting, this random rotation and random tilt. That's, I mean, I don't think I saw that on multi-mesh. Search. Properties? Yeah, I don't see that there. All right. Back to the browser. Uh-oh. I'm gonna check on the stuff for a moment. It is a better. It is a beta, yes. But it turns out that the current bandwidth, bitrate, etc. is. Oh, you know what? I think that widget on Twitch is just messed up. Huh. Because I have. This is not Starlink's fault. All right. Yay, data. All right. So that tutorial didn't actually help much. And let's look at the thousands of fish one. Oh, page doesn't exist. Yay. Let's extract this out to a function. It needs a CH, the glyph ID. Actually, it needs a font face. It needs a font face. And the character. Build glyph. I don't know. Yeah, build glyph is fine. We're not going to take self here. We don't need self, and self will cause other problems. But we do want CH, char, and then we want the face. And this will give us an option to a glyph. That should have been a delete. Good. Oops, that should have been a comma. Okay. Import that. I'll use that down here. All right, that has to be in a closure anyways. Now, if we're doing it this way, should be able to. Okay, we're gonna pull this up and out for each of the characters. We're just going to make sure that they exist. As the stage after this, we have to set the number of characters for each glyph. Guess we could do that in one go, couldn't we? How do we do that? Let's see, a hash mapped, like some sort of lookup table. Buddy sent me a message. Alright, that's funny. Because if we took and also passed in the number of characters here, that would be nice. Do that in one. How do we want to do that? We could have a little hash map of these. Our accounts. Hey, take care, Mr. Wormhole. Oops. Let's see. Type. We could set that elsewhere. Like when the text is actually set. That would be nice. Maybe this is something that we save elsewhere. So we're not doing it on every render. Oops. Put that back. All right, now after they do this, let's just call it after set text. All right. So after the text is set, we will rebuild the counts. That way we're not doing that, creating hash maps all the time. It'll only happen once when the text is set. In fact, we have to call that here too. Okay. Here are the character counts. Or we just replace it at the end. Let's do that. We'll say this is going to be equal to self dot, what is it? Text dot chars dot, I can map reduce this. Not map reduce, we'll fold it. Our initial value is going to be a new hash map. And this then takes current state and the char. Okay. Then we have to return that to continue. What we'll do is look up the state, look at the character in the state. If it exists, we'll increment it. If it doesn't, we'll set it to 1. So state dot entry ch and modify this, we get the entry. I think that works. Or insert with 1. Oh, that should be char. Holy cow, I got that right? Sweet. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Alright. Oh, we're not done though. So then we have this. It's got the counts. So if the counts already exist, then we don't need that. We get the count and then pass it in. Self dot our counts get. That returns an option. If this doesn't exist, there's a bug in the code, so I'm going to expect this. Alright, and then we pass that down here and we build the glyph with it. Just double check that. Yeah, because that value basically has to come into this. Character, the number of elements in it. I wonder, will this have a... All right. Now, the instance count has to be that. That's it. Oh, that expects an i64. Who's going to make that many? And why is this negative? Why does it support negative values? Does it support negative values so that... Oh. Is -1 a special value? It just draws them all? By default, it's 0. All right, if I just piped all that through, just for that, then we counted everything. Oh, well, it was a fun little experiment, but I know, right? Well, -2. Yes, make it random. I don't care which characters don't show. Just make it random. All right. Because if this does take a -1 and renders everything, that would be perfect. We can delete a bunch of code. Less code is less code. All right, I'm not seeing text though. I think they lied. Well, they didn't lie. They just didn't say. Oops. Yeah, there's stuff there, like before. Oh, they don't even allow less than 1. There. That is so surprising. Okay, well, at least that code didn't go to waste. I don't really hold on to code like that, though. I'm happy to get rid of code. I'm gonna pour some tea, finally out of water. All right, now we're gonna start adding duplicates here. So let's add another A to the end and watch it fall on its face. All right. Text. Another A. Oh, look at that. That actually worked. And if we do one in the middle, it actually gets overdrawn. I'm not actually sure why. I don't know if this is a mesh instance error or if this would happen in game. Guess we'll find out. I know that if I close this scene and open it again, it's fine. And yes, okay, it's rendering multiple of the same character just fine. Do they look the same? They do. Our vertices are rather high. 90,000. Oh, you know what? Because it's per letter. You know what? It's doesn't seem to be using this. See, the number of vertices there on the screen. I would not expect the draw calls to go up and the vertices to go up, depending on the number of characters. So the characters should go down. So when I take that, all right, The number of draw calls should be reduced when I have fewer characters on screen. However, using multi-mesh, if it's the same character, that should be the same draw call. But that's not happening. I wonder why. Do I have to do this a different way? Just pouring some tea. And I'm wondering whether or not this is a side effect of the optimization not being available in this view here, or if it's something else. I mean, it could be that multi-mesh isn't optimized for the editor. That seems unreasonable. If we run this, we should see a number of elements on screen. I have to admit, that font doesn't actually look that good there. I wonder why. Is it the anti-aliasing? Do I have MSA set up? Project settings, category, I don't know. Nope, not there. Oh, and where is this? It's in global. I would have guessed that it was in rendering somewhere. Rendering, quality. Sure, fall back to GLS 2. When it's set to 4x, we do 16. See what happens. Does that improve it? GL max samples, falling back to GL max samples is 8. Okay. That's fine. That is so funny. Let's go back to game here. Let's reset the camera to where our view, we want 2 viewports. You know what? Maybe the other viewports. Okay, this one on the right, we are going to select the camera, preview. Now on the left, we're going to go to the front view and move the camera around. Something a little bit more like that. Project settings. I thought there was also pixel snap. If we turn that on, oh, that's for 2D. No, we're not doing 2D. I'm a little disappointed because I think that in the editor here, so if I choose the camera here, let's go back to the other view. Close that, come back here, view, one viewport, camera, front. Oh, come on. I don't want wireframe. Normal, preview. I think it renders better here than when I run it in the game. This doesn't look as good. I don't know why. That's fine. About the MSA project settings. Let's reset some of this. Disabled. I mean, maybe that is it. Maybe that's why. No, that looks terrible. Because now we have those crisp hard edges on each one of these. I think I do want the MSAA, but I don't know what level of MSAA they're using. We can go through a couple, I guess. All right. Try again. Yeah, it still looks gross. Oh, that is so surprising. What could that be? Oh, you can't see it, can you? Here. This is what it looks like. You can see the jaggedness. I don't know if it carries across. Um, I can make that a little bigger. There we go. I mean, if it's a larger font, does that help? All right, back to the code. Let me respond to something real quick. Dun, dun. Oh, Okay. I mean, even in this view, it renders much, much better. All right, I think I just gotta go with a larger font. Let's go to screen. Text. Font size. Let's say 80. Not gonna get much text on there. 80. 60? Maybe. Give that a save. Come back to game. Give it a run. What? Oh, is it because that texture itself, that thing itself doesn't have MSAA? Here, code with game, transition. Let's see, if we give them some texture or something. Okay, here's text. Yeah, that's expected. This should be A. I mean, maybe it's because it's scaled down or something. Let's give it a material override. Sure, new spatial material. It's fine. Oh, is it not going to let me do that? Ah, that's too bad. I mean, it just looks like those meshes aren't getting the MSA applied. You're not getting the anti-aliasing on the edges. If you look at that. It's getting it inside of Godot, but not when the game is running. Let's do a quick search. Godot, MSAA, array mesh. How to get a BB of array mesh. So, project settings. We have this set up in. Wait, do we? That last version. I don't remember. Did we set the MSAA? It's on 2x. And that should work. We should be able to go to 8 here. Close, run. Okay, to be fair, that helps a lot. I'm gonna drop the font size back down to, what was it, 40? Okay, that, and I'm gonna move it down just a touch. Text. Where is it? Oh, there it is. I want it on top of the black. Oh, that's not too bad. I'll show you. When it's not perfect, but it's not as bad as it was. All right, now that that works, the next bit is going to be, and it kind of works. I'm only so happy about that, and it could be better. It still seems like it's not getting the MSAA as well as it should. And if we turn off MSAA, it should probably look gross. Let's just verify that. Disabled, close, save, run. Yeah, that looks worse. Oh, texture size limits. Interesting. Color bending. Project settings enable rendering, quality, screen space filter, screen space roughness limiter. Oh, interesting. Render the scene at a higher resolution, then display it in a viewport texture that matches the window size. Make sure to enable filter on the viewport texture flags. Super sampling is very slow. All right, yeah, we don't want to do that. So let's first start here. Project settings. Now that was in rendering quality screen space filters. Rendering quality. Did I pass it already? Probably. Shading depth pass. Okay, I do not see it there. Roughness limiter. Let's search for that. Oh, I don't see it in there at all. Oh, interesting. Multi-threaded, single safe, single unsafe, or multi-threaded. Huh. Voxel cone tracing. Hmm. Use oversampling. We're not even using that. HDR. Yeah, this is getting me. The fact that it looks better here than it does in the game. Oh, come on, close that. I want to take a screenshot. It looks a little bigger right now. Shrink that. Try to get a side by side. A little bit bigger. That's about the same size. Oh shoot. Front view. All right. Oh, my screenshot isn't on. There we go. Give that a copy. Okay, where can I toss that? What's a good place to put like a screenshotted image? There's Imgur. Image flip? Photo bucket? Post image. Fine. That's not what I was expecting. Oh, images.org. No wonder. That is not pretty, actually. That didn't help. Do not resize my image. I thought I had chosen that. All right. Oh, you know what? I wonder if one of these is actually aware of the high DPI screen and the other isn't. Project settings. No, project settings. Where's high DPI? Should be a rendering. Window. DPI, allow high DPI. There we go. Okay, let's try that. Close, run. Okay, now that is much smaller on my screen, but looks gorgeous. So that's the difference. Yeah, and then if I resize it out, it looks great. Okay, so it's really the high DPI bits. It's here. Here's the toss something on that post side again. So now you can see that versus this one. That one looks much better if you download the original, actually. It looks much, much better. Well, very cool. I'm glad that worked out, and the next stage is going to be laying out all these characters. So. Oh, cool. Oh, that's really nice. I'm glad that worked. It's really the high DPI bit. I had not been expecting that. Well, y'all, I'm gonna wind down here. Hope everybody has had a wonderful Tuesday so far. What? So now I'm looking for a Rust streamer. All right, we're gonna go with I am Hardliner again. Unless you have some other suggestion, I'm open for it. Thanks all for hanging out. Appreciate the company. It's good to see y'all. We're gonna get going. So until next time. Bye-bye.